You know, sometimes what we believe to be the dream of a lifetime can turn into a nightmare. I thought I had found the perfect house, a modern villa, full of light, with a little garden where my children could play safely. But behind those immaculate walls was hiding a terrible truth, an enormous debt, a debt I had never signed for. It all started on a Saturday morning. I had already visited dozens of properties. Each time, there was a problem. Too dark, too small, too expensive, too far away. I was exhausted, discouraged. And then, that day, everything changed. The real estate agent took me to a house that looked like it had come straight out of a magazine. A big open kitchen with a central island, a living room flooded with sunlight thanks to wide glass doors, spacious bedrooms upstairs, and even a terrace overlooking a calm neighborhood where you could only hear the birds. I fell in love instantly. I could already see my kids running around in the garden, my husband preparing summer barbecues, family dinners in that beautiful kitchen. It was exactly what I had been looking for. And the seller, a charming man, smiling, almost too polite, told me with a pressing tone, "If you want it, you have to sign quickly. Another family is already interested." My heart started racing. I thought, this is the moment. I can't let this chance slip away. And almost without thinking, I said yes. The following weeks were a whirlwind. Meetings at the bank for the mortgage, paperwork with the agency, the appointment with the notary. Everything went so fast. The notary read out the contract at lightning speed, page after page of legal jargon I barely understood. But you know how it is. You nod, you sign, you trust the system. And finally, I was a homeowner. The day I got the keys, I felt an immense pride. I called my family, my friends. We finally have our house. The first months were magical. We moved in our furniture, hung family photos on the walls, decorated the bedrooms. I invited relatives, hosted a housewarming dinner. Everyone congratulated me. I was happy, convinced that all my efforts had finally paid off. Then, one morning, everything collapsed. A registered letter arrived. I opened it without suspicion, and suddenly it felt like the ground had vanished beneath my feet. It was a notification from the bank. The house I had just bought was already mortgaged by the previous owner. He had taken out a loan and never repaid it. And now it was my responsibility. I couldn't believe my eyes. How was this even possible? I had bought the house legally, with a notary, through an agency, and yet the letter was clear. According to the law, the debt was tied to the property, which meant it was mine now. The bank demanded immediate repayment or foreclosure. My dream had just turned into a nightmare. I ran to see lawyers. Some told me the notary should have checked. Others said, "Madam, you signed. The responsibility is yours." I was lost. I launched into a long, costly, exhausting legal battle. Every consultation with a lawyer drained my finances. Court fees piled up, and meanwhile, the debt kept growing. Day after day, I fought to prove I was a victim of real estate fraud. I wanted justice. I wanted the real culprit to pay. But the truth is harsh. Despite my efforts, despite my evidence, despite my despair, I lost. I lost the house. The day I had to hand back the keys was one of the most painful moments of my life. I remember stroking the living room walls one last time, looking at that garden that had never really become ours, and feeling my heart break. Everything had collapsed. Today, I live in a rental, and every time I pass by that house, my heart aches. It stands there, beautiful, silent, as if nothing had happened. But for me, it represents the biggest mistake of my life. Yet, I keep one lesson, carved forever into my memory. Never rush. Always check for debts, mortgages, and charges on a property before signing. Always ask questions, even if you're afraid of sounding suspicious. Because behind a perfect facade, there can sometimes be the trap of a lifetime. And you, if tomorrow someone offered you the house of your dreams, would you make sure to check everything?